YouTube! How's it going? Alright guys, this is my rig. I'm going to get rid of this anyway because it needs to go. We're going to be replacing that because it's disgusting. State of that. It used to be that colour. But yeah, so we're going to be replacing that anyway. So not a problem. Throw that out of the way. So this is my rig. Well, the majority of it. It is a dual rig. I built this case myself. It is a dual rig, but the other system is not in there at the moment. If you've been watching my videos, you'll know that. But I did build this PC, this whole case myself, painted it. It is a dual system case. Basically, the last time all I did was clear the water out. Like, all I did was clear the water had gone brown. I could go into why, but it was just some rust content from some bolts that I put to plug some pipe work. Once I connected up, the loop worked perfectly fine, but the water was browner than the next morning after Taco Bell, you know? It is literally horrible orangey brown colour, so I cleared it out, and in doing that I created an air pocket which then burnt out one of the pumps. So for the last couple of months this has been literally running on the 2 pumps, which keeps it circulating, but it's not the best. So what we're going to do is we're going to repair this. What we are going to be doing is this pump that I prepared, the other day. This is going to be replacing the one that is in there. I am going to use the gasket and the hot plate off the original pump that's in here, because that's actually fine, because the one that was in here had some galvanic corrosion, and even though, you know, I got the thing quite clean, I managed to clean it up quite well. The problem is that because of the galvanic corrosion, you can see it here, this is all pitting around the edge of here. I just don't trust it to make a proper seal. So we're going to use a hot plate off the one that's in here. Fortunately, everything's interchangeable. And we're also going to be reverting the system back to its original config, expected config. I'm going to take this panel off just to make life a little easier for carrying. Probably pop this off as well because it's loose. I'm going to give the whole thing a bit of a dust, quick time, before we go too far into it. May as well clean stuff up. But before we get too deep into cleaning it and stuff like that, let me spin this thing round so I can show you what we're dealing with here. Woo! I'm gonna take a hoover to this. You shouldn't do that. Never do that, but I think it'll sort out this back end and probably underneath as well. Look at these cobwebs. Terrible. Right, so anyways, as you can see, we've just got this pipe work in here. Now this pipe here, I've put it in because this basically turns it back into the whole loop being in series, and because this pump was dead, it had to all run through the system, otherwise that just wasn't cooling in any way, shape or form. So what we are going to be doing is we are going to be reverting this back into parallel, which will put the pumps on the 2 CPUs in parallel with each other, and there's another one in series to keep the head pressure going. Basically, it just pushes up the flow rate just a little bit. It definitely made an improvement, so we're going to put that back, and we'll eventually be swapping all these pipe work out for copper, but for right now this will do. The plan of action is to, I'm going to take this panel off, but the plan of action is to lie the case down on this side. Then I want to swap this back over first, because I feel like if I leave because the system is somewhat sealed, so it's got its own pressure built up, so hopefully I'll have enough time to switch these over without too much stress. I'll have enough time to switch these over, and then we can go from there. and then because this is at the bottom, I'll just be able to quickly switch this one to here, and then once that'll mean that the air pocket is actually at this end. Now what I've got is I've got a USB to two fan headers, which we are going to use to run this pump and the one that's in series by the tank on the other side, so that basically from here to here and the rest of the radiator loop will just keep churning itself around, which should prevent any air pockets, which means any air pockets that do happen will happen from here and here to here, which is where we're going to be swapping the pump over. So hopefully that'll mean that once I've done the swap over, it'll be quite dry in there, so it won't make too much of a mess when I switch over, and also so we can alleviate any air pocket actually happening. And then I can fill these pipes back up from the cooler, get that all cinched up together, and then we can get the old system back in and we can test it. Now I have run a quick Cinebench just to show the difference between the two loops. Hopefully there's a difference, because let me put it this way, with the dead pump and it just like running water through it, the cooling system has enough to wick the heat away, but it doesn't get it shifted fast enough. So essentially it's cool enough to play in game, which is why I haven't rushed to fix it. So it's got decent enough temps in game, like 70s, 80s at times, but mostly it's in the 70s. But if I run a Cinebench, within 3 seconds it's sitting there at 100 degrees, like, you know, the 12900 KS, especially with a little overclock on it. So this should fix that problem. And yeah, we shall. I'm just going to give this whole thing a bit of a clean, and then I'll get it on its side, and we can go straight into sorting these pipes out. Yeah, let's go. Right, okay, guys. I'm going to drop this down. Right. So what I need to do is I need to trim this, take this off, and replace it with this one as quickly as I can. I'm going to cut this off and have this ready so that I can just literally pop it out of there and stuff it into that one. We almost had a catastrophe, guys. We almost had a catastrophe. Like, I could not find enough cable ties, but I found one that I can adjust, because there's no way that I would start cutting this up if I couldn't seal it back up afterwards. So fortunately this pipe's going to be gone. Once it's gone, it's gone. So I need to cut the cable tie off this so that it's nice and easy for me to just switch these over. So that's ready to go. All I've got in there is like a little plastic bolt. Right, okay, cool. That means I can put a cable tie on there, and I feel comfortable that that is sealed off and done now. So we're back in parallel again, guys. So that obviously this is the standard up position of the case like this now, but we just get one of these cable ties on here. Now that's done and ready to go. We've got one of these thick boys. I did have 4 of these thick boys, but I could climb one. Right guys, now you're up top with me. I feel real comfortable about the back now. That is definitely linked up. It feels cold, so it feels like we're probably in pretty good stead. Now, before I go too much further, I do want to point out that I do have a plan for the issue I had before. I have got in here, random I know, but I do have a USB. I don't know if you can see that. See that little USB? Well, that was set up for the pumps for this build, because I was going to have them on a switch. I've got a hole in the back of the case here where the switch was. This is what I was using, but it didn't deliver enough power. That's why it's shaved there, so it fit. And obviously I had that switch ready in the case, but it didn't work out. But because this is wired into here, this USB, it's available. I'm going to use this to connect the other pump up here, the one with the res, and the pump on top of the 12900 KS on the other end when I come to fill this up. And I figured, because of the way the loop is, it should mean that those 2 pumps will just circulate between them, and it should mean that all the air pocket comes up through these pipes. So as I fill it, it should get sealed up, and it should alleviate any chance of an air pocket, because that's what burnt me out last time. But I'm going to use this thing. I use it for my boy's room, for the fan under his desk. But yeah, the advantage is obviously this has got a big cable on it, so I could just go plug this into the USB hub over there from the other end of this cable, and then obviously we could just run these 2 pumps off that. Now all I need to do is find the one that splits the 2 pumps, really. Look, when I come to seal this, let me see if I can power them up, see if that worked. It's noisy, but it was definitely doing something. And these pipes down here now feel cold, so that should have filled the other half of the loop through. Right, now we're going to take this off, so I'm going to pile some microfibers underneath it there. That's snug. I'm going to cut that off because I ain't got time for this. This video's out late, guys. It's because of all this going on. It's because I've just run into a problem with almost everything. Plus, like I said, these pipes are tight. Oh, there was definitely some liquid trapped in this pump. Under pressure. Under pressure. Raining down on me. Raining down on me. Right guys, just a quick sanity check. Make sure that this gasket fits this. Yeah, I like a glove. Right guys, I am like aching like hell, but I think I found the problem. And
It's a little shocking. So what I did is I thought it looked like it had a weird kink to it and stuff, one of the tubes. So what I did is I pulled it off. Everything seemed fine. Ran a spike down it. Everything would go through, no problem. And then I went to go put it back on again, and I was like, "There's that kink again." So I took it back off, and what I did is I cut the end of that bit of pipe off, and then went back in. And I was so lucky, I got so close, I almost missed it. But I'll show you what I found. Right, so here's the bit of pipe that I cut off, and I've cut it open so you can see. But this is, hold on. This fluffy bit here, that's the end that was near the pump, right? So this was going onto the barb and pushing on. And look what the barb did. Can you see that? See that flap that it's gouged off the side of it? Obviously, as the barb was going in, it pushed that pipe in, and then that flap was just closing the pipe, just like that. And I was so lucky that I cut it where I cut it, because I almost missed that. But it looks like that was the problem. And it does seem to be flowing through that pipe now, so I think I might have fixed it, but that is definitely what the problem is. And you wouldn't know. Like I said, I threw a spike down there, it didn't get in the way or anything, but as soon as I went to go put that pipe on, it obviously just closed it off. So hopefully I didn't burn out a pump yesterday trying to get it fixed. We shall find out.
Right, okay guys. There's been a bit of a slog. Right, there was a few issues that I had to come across. It is working now, which is awesome. Means that I can still stream on Christmas Day. I haven't got the capture rig in there yet, as you can see, it's still here. But that is mostly so that you get a video right now. I wanted to make sure that everything in there was working and the pumps were working and stuff before I put something back. I'm having not the best temperatures. I mean, it's not bad, like it's idling at 22 degrees. It's not the end of the world, like, but I'm not having the best. Normally I would see, like, with this setup before, it was showing like 17 degrees. So a good 5 degrees down off this on idle. And if I'm honest with you, I think it's the thermal paste. I used some Duranaut that I've had for a little while, and the stuff was hard as nails going on. So I don't know what was going on there. I don't know whether it's dried out or whether it's just because it's cold. I did try warming it up. It did help a little bit, but yeah, the stuff was it wasn't the easiest to apply. So I don't know whether it's that and whether it's just going to improve as this warms up a little bit. I don't know, but we do have the rig in, and it is in the loop is in parallel, and it's not like showing temperature. Like I said, we're idling at 22 degrees, so it's not showing temperatures that and that's with my overclock, by the way. So I've got 5.3 on anything that's not the 5.5 cores, and 4.2 on all the E cores. And you know, we're idling at 22. It doesn't really go super high, but it's not performing how it should be performing. This was definitely a major issue. What I showed you on this, major issue. Again, like I said, that flap was literally the very bottom of where the barb had come to, and it just shaved that flap. And I think that flap literally is perfect to just fill the whole of the pipe, because you can see the pressure pushed on it and made it sort of concave, and that's just blocked the hole. Like, that's what the problem was in the first place. That's why I was getting no temps. So I switched that out. Then there was a little bit of an air pocket, not a huge one though. But what I did do is I cleaned the fins on this one, and I did the same on the one on the bottom. This one wasn't really that bad at all, a few flakes of stuff. The bottom one was a little bit worse, but it's right at the bottom of the loop, and I don't really care about it too much, so I don't clean it as often. But it does need to be clear so that it flows properly. So I did that, and yeah, this is all three pumps running. It runs silent, and I've got all the radiator fans running at like 90 odd %. These Noctua fans are so quiet. But yeah, Guys, the system's working. It's gonna have to be a bit of a to be continued so that I can get a video out to you guys. Yeah, Christmas Eve tomorrow, guys. Let's fucking go. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Love you, bye. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. I can subscribe. Thank you.